Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hey Show podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me as always are my good friends Kyle and Hunter. Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just
podcast that's always prepared, as always. What's
Definitely
going on
didn't
with
just
you,
rush
Ethan?
into that in like the last.
Definitely
possible
didn't
moment.
bump his microphone before the intro either.
I was moving it. At least give me some credit. I was moving it closer to my face. I wasn't just bumping it for the sake of it. But no, it's good to see you guys. It's been a rough week for me, guys, because I'm still living from post-Xenoblade depression. As you can see, the Tobey Maguire emo Spider-Man fringe has come back. No, it's just because I was showered. I have really fluffy hair if I condition, and I always plan conditioner on the exact same day that we record, so that I always have to have my hood up because I'm embarrassed of how fucking puffy my hair gets. But you know.
I had a relatively exhausting week too. I went to a concert on Tuesday, and then I had a dentist appointment on like Wednesday. So I was already up late because concerts never wrap up at a reasonable hour.
Never do.
And I had like 45 minutes to drive home, and then I didn't get to like sleep after work because I had a dentist appointment the next day. So
Yeah, dude, I've just been exhausted. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a post-COVID kind of like illness or whatever, but I've just felt like terrible like this past week. Like I had like muscle pains in like my chest, and I was like, am I dying? And I had to get my mom, who is a qualified professional, to be like, no, you're not dying, it just sounds like you're exhausted. And I'm like, bet. And I was just sitting there going, I'll sit there lying in bed going, I'll prove her wrong. But no,
he was just sitting. Yeah. You were just sitting there languishing like a Victorian princess or something.
Yeah,
with the consumption.
Exactly. I was just like, I'll show her. But no, it must have just been like a chest pain, like something like that, because of from post-COVID. Because it was like for the first week after COVID, I was like, this shit's easy, bro. I was fine, hop, skipping, and jumping. And then this past week, I've been like, oh, I feel terrible. Like it's.
Dude, I remember that happening to me, where I felt like. Well, I feel like a few weeks after I had it, it felt like I wasn't like getting enough air into my system.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I had to just think about taking deeper breaths to make sure I'm getting all the oxygen I need.
Yeah, no, I was the exact same way, but when I took a deep breath in, it was like I was getting a pain like here, like in my chest. So like it hurt to breathe in, and then obviously, because you guys know what I'm like. Already someone would focus on that if you heard it, but you know me, I'm a crazy psycho who has a stupid brain, and I would just hyperfixate on that. So I was like, I couldn't sleep because I was like, if I breathe it'll hurt, and then I'll breathe and go, ow, it hurt, and it was just like the cycle continues over and over and over again. And then when obviously
so I'll stop breathing.
So I was like, you think depression's worse? Wait till you finish Xenoblade and then get a chest pain. That's like tragedy is like just on set. But luckily Splatoon got me. We really needed that Splatfest.
Yeah. Splatoon hit a different feeling.
It did. Yeah. Another type of pain. We'll get into it.
Another type of sadness.
We'll get into it. So yeah, if you haven't guessed, we have all been playing Splatoon 3 with this global test fire, the Splatfest demo.
The 12-hour demo.
I don't know what it was called. Hey, I got like 16 hours because I had 2 accounts. Get wrecked, nerds. I had Europe as well. Trust me, I didn't get more. I got even more.
You lied on your resume.
I did lie on my resume. It's true. So we'll talk all about that. And then, we're recording this really late. We're doing it on a Sunday because, like we said, the Splatfest was Saturday, so it was a bit shorter than usual. You know why? I've got to rush this through as quickly as possible. We're going to talk about the whole PlayStation situation right now because PlayStation's not looking very good at the moment. But we'll talk about that. And then I thought we'd wrap it up, the 3 types of pain. We've got Splatoon pain. Splatoon's good, by the way. It was just very aggravating. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But, we
liked Splatoon.
Yeah. We got good pain with Splatoon 3. We got bad pain with the PlayStation fuck-ups. And then we got please end me pain with Opening Night Live. So we'll talk about all 3 in this trifecta of pain. Yeah, Geoff, why? Geoff, please stop. Why is there another one next year? Thank you. Please send me another badge for Game Awards this year. I'd really appreciate it. So I can flex even harder and go, look, I'm a co-streamer and I'm fucking feeling cringe. But yeah, so that's that. other than that, we'll get straight into it because, like I say, we're already recording it late, so we shouldn't really rush it. But thank you to everyone on podcast services. There's been a big spike again this week on podcast services, so thank you very much. Whether you're enjoying the Xenoblade 3 podcast, like a lot of you are, or you're just catching up with us every week, or you're hanging out with us every week, we really appreciate it. And any reviews on Spotify, iTunes, etc., we really appreciate that as well. And hey, if you want to listen to us on podcast and send a look at our stupid faces, go to any podcast service and type for Hot Gamers Only. We're on everywhere. Or if you do want to look at us, if you want to see my emo Peter Parker fringe for yourself, go to youtube.com/hotgamersonly. We appreciate it. Every single person that checks it out. Leave a sub while you're there. Like and subscribe. Does that work? Please like. Please subscribe. Please don't dislike. Please don't say ratio. Please don't say Elden Ring's better. I'd appreciate it. Anyway.
Did it work for Sakurai when he started his YouTube channel?
He was like, I will not ask
That's
for
another
like
thing that happened
subscribe.
in the past week.
Yeah, it did happen. That's good for Sakurai, dude.
It's honestly really cool.
It's really cool that he's doing that, and like an industry veteran just kind of giving out free advice is neat.
It is neat. I like it. It's a fun little thing. Like I say, it's like we'll have to see how he goes and how many he does and how often it happens. But it's just a nice little thing to have. It's also nice to hear him not talk in the confines of Nintendo Direct, held hostage when he's not allowed to even mention a PlayStation or an Xbox existing. You know, it's like it's kind of nice for him to just go, let's talk about games, and I'm like, yes, Sakurai, let's talk about games.
Just be.
Why not? Why not? Anyway, well, the Nintendo Ninjas are pulling the handgun at the back of my head again, so I guess we'll have to talk about Splatoon. So, Splatoon 3, Splatfest, it happened. We all played it. To get an idea of how much we played, how much we played at the Splatfest, I think all in all, there were a couple of hours I obviously didn't play, but I think between the two, me and Kyle, we put so much time into it. I feel like at least 8 hours, something ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I went from we took an hour break in between, but no, I pretty much went from 12 to 12.
Yeah, and the bit that I missed with Kyle and Sam earlier, I basically played in Europe, so I played roughly about 8 to 9 hours probably of Splatoon 3 over the course of that day. Hunt, how much did you play?
I'd say around like 6 hours. I played a few hours earlier in the day, and then I went off to go do stuff, and then I came back and played. We played from like 9 to 12.
We played the final. Yeah, you played the final 3 hours. So the way it was Kyle and Sam were duoing. I played a lot solo at the start. Kyle and Sam did a bit of duos, with me coming in for a bit of three-man parties. So a mixture of 2 and 3 mans. Then me and Kyle did duos again for a while, and then we ended it with a full squad. So we kind of have the impressions between us of every possible way to play this fucking video game, except for being on the fun side of the tri-splat color battles because we were all on scissors. We'll get to that because tricolor needs a bit of balancing. But yeah, I mean, overall impressions. Where do you want to start? How are you feeling? Cal, you took a massive break from Splatoon, obviously because you played Splatoon 1, but you did not have a chance to play Splatoon 2 because you didn't get a Switch until January? Also,
it was December for Splatoon, or not for Splatoon, for Xenoblade 2.
For Xenoblade 2. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, did I forget to lock the room, Cal? Is that why you added it? If you heard that Discord notification, that was us, not you, because I forgot to mute my Discord. It's fine. I'll mute it now. Someone want to write a timestamp of where we are? We're at like 7 minutes. Anyway, what did I say? Splatoon 2. You didn't get to play that?
Correct. I did not play Splatoon 2. So going back to Splatoon 3, it felt good to play this game again after being gone from it for so long. Like, there's just something about Splatoon that's just so much fun in its simplicity to just play like a nice, easygoing shooter where you don't really need to be good at shooting to be good at the game, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Spray and pray the video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm someone who does not come from a shooter background. I'm terrible at shooters.
How dare you?
Well, I don't know. Sorry, man.
How dare you?
I put all my energy to fighting games.
Yeah, like the opposite of me. No, thank you. Yeah, it's obviously it's interesting because I think one of the things that Splatoon, like one of the benefits of Splatoon, is it kind of caters to many play styles. I think that's why, Overwatch when it initially came out kind of hit a chord with an extremely casual audience was because it was like, oh, you can have your mercy mains or your healers or your tanks who don't necessarily have to be your hit scan kind of make sure you have 99% accuracy or get out of the fucking lobby, you know?
Mhm.
And I think Splatoon hits that kind of same demographic where, because the original objective of the main game mode for Splatoon very much just is fuck about, paint whatever you can. You don't really need to really focus on the kind of intricacies of your like hard aiming at people, and even then the auto aim on Splatoon's kind of fucking crazy. If you're pointing in a vicinity, Splatoon will try its hardest to just go, yeah, you're aiming, you're good enough, you're doing the job.
But even still, like the other weapons it offers, like the paintbrush, the roller, and the new Splatana, like it offers playstyles for people that just like me and Sam aren't good at shooting.
Yeah, no, definitely. The variety is definitely there. How about you, Hunter? Obviously, did you play Splatoon 2? I feel like you played a little bit of Splatoon 2.
Yeah, I played Splatoon 2. I didn't play it as much as Splatoon, the first one, just because I kind of got it at a time where I was just picking up my Switch and other things were out. So I would just kind of turn it on here and there. And then later, when some of my friends picked it up, like during quarantine, I played it with them during that time for a little while. But you know, it was substantially less than Splatoon 1. But I'll be excited to pick this one up. I really enjoyed the what I played yesterday, experimenting with the new weapons and stuff. The Splatana was fun. Not super great with it. The crossbow, I think I was a little better with that, but also not super fantastic with.
I loved.
It doesn't seem to lend itself to the
crossbow.
I love the bow, and it's just this stuff like this with Splatoon that I absolutely love when they like turn like household objects into weapons, basically. And I just love how it's like kind of like it's like the kind of it's a bow, but it's got like the kind of, you know, like the plaster filler, like kind of handle container that's like the circular thing that you like push plaster through. It's one of those on a bowstring. So the bowstring's not even really doing anything because they're just pushing the paint thing. Like, and I'm like, I love that. It's so stupid and it's so Splatoon that I just kind of absolutely love it. I mean, yeah, I put a lot of time into Splatoon 1 and 2. I put over 100 hours into both of them. But I'm also a very front-loaded Splatoon player, which means I play like that 100 hours of Splatoon 2 was, bar the Octo expansion, which I played all of the single-player content for in 2018. All of that was front-loaded. All of the multiplayer I played of Splatoon 2 was in 2017. I did not play past that. I played a couple of Splatfests. I don't even remember the Splatfest, to be honest with you, from Splatoon 2. Was the Ketchup vs. Mayo one the Splatoon 2 one? I feel like that one was. I remember like Hero there. I don't remember Splatfest too well.
Was it ketchup and mayo and not like ketchup versus mustard?
No, it was mayo because everyone was laughing because the paint was white and everyone's a child. So
was there a SpongeBob versus Patrick Splatfest?
That was Splatoon 1. That was Splatoon 1, and it was North American only. And I was very upset because Splatoon up to Splatoon 3 was region locked, which we'll get to in a second, because Splatoon 3 is the first one that's finally global, so you can choose your region. So I can pretend to be American, which I did for a majority of it. So I'll talk about pings and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've played a lot of Splatoon, and it was one of those things where I was playing it by myself for a few hours, and I was like, yeah, this is Splatoon. Like, it's very much Splatoon. But when I started playing it with people, and it was a lot more fun playing with people, and I'm like, okay, this is why I like playing Splatoon, is I like playing it with people. It's a very good chill out game. And once you do start, you do kind of get a bit addicted. Like, I played with the bucket for like 3 hours straight, and I was just so like, I was having so much fun just being a menace to society that it's just like, even if there was no progression, there was no real reason to play the beta. They gave you no good reason to play it because you got nothing from it. But it was still really fun to play, to the point where, like me and Cal said,
clout.
Yeah, which was worth nothing in the end, apparently.
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying that all of our work from last night isn't going to transfer over, but you know.
You think it'll be just a little bit of something, you know, like start us at level 5, or, you know, do something as like a thank you.
Especially for someone like me who didn't have Splatoon 2, so I don't get any of the legacy inclusions, the legacy bonus for having save data.
I don't even remember what level I got to in Splatoon 2, so I'm just going to launch the game and go, oh, guess I'm that level, smiley face, because I genuinely don't remember how far I even got in Splatoon.
Yeah, but
2
you'll at least have a jumping off point. I'm starting from ground zero.
True, but if I remember correctly, the first couple of levels in Splatoon don't really take that long to get anyway, so I'm sure you won't be too far behind. I'm sure you will.
Still, I'm gonna have to be a Splattershot Andy.
True. Unlucky. I'm just gonna unlock the bucket instantly and be like, ha,
I know, dude.
Pain, suffering for all. Incredible. But no, let's talk about some of the highlights, because to me, one of the highlights is one, I'm a really big fan of having all the guns in from the get-go. You don't have all the variants, but you have all of the base weapons for everything. And I really appreciate it, because there's one thing I really hated about Splatoon 2 was how the first 6 months of content felt to me. Like, it was like, look guys, it's that thing you liked from Splatoon 1 coming back. Isn't that great? And I'm like, I'm sick of that. I really hate when video games
unlock it.
Yeah, I feel like video games do this so much recently. Like, you look at Call of Duty, you look at that, and everything's just, look, here's that thing that you liked from before, and now it's here, instead of, here's something new. So I'm really glad that all the weapons...
What if we made you pay money for it?
Yeah, I'm really glad the weapons are actually here from the get-go. And for the most part, they feel really good to play. I'm not noticing any huge differences from the base roster. I guess the real intricacy and the real kind of new tech and all that will come from the new subs and specials that are given to each one, because I believe each one has a brand new sub and special.
Likely.
Yeah,
for the most part. So yeah, we'll have to talk about. You guys got any highlights? I've got obviously the highlight from the specials is the fucking dolphin, whatever the dolphin's called.
Oh yeah, the dolphin, the Akira sliding dolphin was my favorite thing, man.
The dolphin is so much fun. It's just, I love the fact that it's like running someone over with a bus and then you get to explode it. It's like if someone's in the path, they die as well. Like, I was like, that's great.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize that at first, and then I got somebody as they were in my path before I even exploded. I'm like, oh, that is so much better, actually.
Dude, I should have saved the clip, dude. There was literally a clip. There was like a clip that I had. I was playing with Kyle. I was popping off because I ran 2 people over and then I killed a third with the explosion. I was like, this is lit. I love the dolphin so much. It's so stupid. It is like the kind of suicidal player's dream of just charge and you just like launch into the sunset and hope for the best. I absolutely love it. Definitely. It's a great little addition.
Charge.
Do you guys have any favorite weapon subs?
Fired a couple of times. Like, I definitely hopped onto the thing and get shot off of it.
Oh, that, yeah. It's a mixed bag, but when it works. Anyway, other favorites. What have you guys got?
Yeah. I was super big on the Splatana. No one's surprised based on how I acted in the last Splatoon episode we did.
Mm-hmm. I like I'm not a huge melee guy in Splatoon. I just don't. I don't fuck with it. I just don't. I like throwing paint. I feel like it'll be good in comp modes, but in Splat, in Turf Wars, I just felt like I was doing nothing.
Oh, for Turf Wars, it's bad, but it can get into the fray so quickly with its little charge slash it can do. And the sub weapon that it had was also it had really good synergy with the kit. It was basically like a tracking bomb. So not an auto bomb, but like it floated and then basically dive bombed the opponent. It just synergized well because good splash damage, and then you just like 1-2 swipe and then they're gone.
Yeah. There are some really good synergies. I'm not a fan of giving the Aerospray another good synergy again. Because, oh my god,
I'm sick of the Aerospray, dude.
The Aerospray, the Aerospray
thing was a menace in Splatoon.
It is like the basic bitch weapon of Splatoon, right? It's like if you're like,
it is a menace.
Yeah, it's the go-to for Turf War because it just covers so much ground. So the fact that they then gave it decent fucking grenades, and on top of that they were like, fuck it, give them the dolphin. Give them the dolphin. They need more movement.
Yeah, give it the dolphin.
Oh my god. Hell. I don't that's crazy. You'd think that would be like one of the high level variants, not the base version of the splatter shot. They're not splatter shot, the Aerospray. That's crazy.
Because that's like the base level Aerospray too.
Yeah, if they do other Aerosprays, it'll probably be worse by default unless they bring other things back. I'm just expecting them to bring back the ball or when the other one shows up. So then it's like, do you want the dolphin or the ball, the hamster ball? And I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
that's
I'm just
crazy.
imagining Arrow Spray with the Kraken special from Splatoon 1.
No, I'm good. No, thank you.
Oh no.
No, thank you. For
Oh,
the most
God,
part,
yeah.
I feel like most of the specials this time are like pretty decent. Like I didn't get to play with all of them. I didn't get to play with the stringy arm one where you kind of hook shot yourself away from places. What were you gonna say, Hunter?
I have beef with the lasers that go through walls. Whatever that one was.
The new killer
I don't
whale.
like
The
that
new
one.
killer whale thing, yeah, like
God,
Yeah.
fuck the killer whale.
yeah, that thing's annoying as hell. I don't like it.
It was already annoying in the last games, but like, what if they took the killer whale and just made it 6?
Yeah,
And they just move instantly.
it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. I like the vending machine. The vending machine. At first, I thought the vending machine's lame, but when you're actually playing with a team, the vending
I
machine's
love the
actually quite
juice.
useful. Yeah.
Vending machine's cool. I really wish the game told you what it did.
I think it's just.
It's
Is it a
gotta be
random
just like a
thing up?
damage buff.
It's or a speed up. I feel like you move quick with the juice. I don't know.
Something like that.
Something
And
like
it also
that.
had like instant respawn if you die with juice powers.
Oh, does it? There you go.
Yeah.
Didn't notice that. That's a good one. I really the bazooka feels pretty good. I like how it's no longer tornadoes that shoot vertically. It's more like a grenade launcher than anything, because you just fire like 3 shots off. And then they kind of changed the tornadoes to be with that other ultimate that is on the bucket that I had, which is broken, where you throw 3 grenades that turn into tornadoes. Yeah. And it's like you're basically targeting missile strikes. I really like those. They're cool. The bounce, the thing that's like the rhythm game with the circles that kind of spawn out of it. I don't know if you saw it, where it's like a projectile that's like it's like a central thing, and it it emanates like rings. At first I was
and it's really easy to jump over.
Yeah, at first I was like, At first I remember seeing it in the direct and being like, that's probably trash. But I died to it multiple times, because if a game's being really hectic and someone puts that out, it's just that one extra thing your brain has to keep a track of. Yeah. And it does catch you off guard, so I'll give it that. And fuck the shield teleport, whatever the fuck that is. That thing's annoying as shit.
Oh yeah, I don't like the shield.
The fact that people can teleport into the shield, like the fact that the 8-year-olds that are playing this game don't realize that you can actually walk through the enemy shields to go inside of it. The amount of people I've seen that are just shooting on the outside going, we'll break it one day, Timmy, let's go. Like, it's kind of crazy. But I think most of the specials are pretty decent.
I think the only one I wasn't a big on was the crab.
Oh yeah, the wrecking ball from Overwatch ripoff. Yeah. What don't you like about it?
It's just something about it. I don't know if it was like too slow or just wasn't putting out enough DPS. At least when I tried using it, I could be entirely wrong on this.
No, I felt it was
something
a bit
about
slow
it just didn't sit right with me.
I also felt going into the ball form didn't have an advantage at all, because it just felt as slow as the regular crab. I was like, I was kind of expecting when you went into the ball for you to be kind of more maneuverable, where you're not really.
I got behind a guy who was using it at one point last night. Like straight up, I don't think they were aware of my presence, and I was able to straight up just shoot him dead.
Yeah,
off of that, because he couldn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's probably one of the weaker specials from what I've seen. So but for the most part, I think they're all pretty decent. I don't know how many of the maps did we actually get to see yesterday. I don't know how many were in rotation. At first, I was under the assumption that all of them were, but we definitely did not play 12 maps.
Yeah, there's no way we played all 12.
I can come up with a couple on the top of my head. I know there was Eeltail Alley, the Scorch Gorge was one of them that we played.
Yeah, Scorch Gorge,
Museum del Alfonso, the water park one. The beach resort one. I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah, Mahi Mahi.
Mahi Resort. That's it.
There was the museum.
Yeah. There was that one. Mincemeat
Metalworks,
which is my least favorite map that we played.
Atrocious freaking map, dude.
Yeah. The spawn is like the width of like my forehead. It's fucking huge. There's no space for any it's one of the worst spawns because you know what Splatoon's like. It's like, do you want to win the turf war, guys? Yes. Does anyone want to cover spawn? No. And it's like most of the time,
especially
it's like,
if you don't have a roller on your team.
Yeah, and most of the
like
time,
that shit's not getting covered.
Even though it is like a lot of times, if no one else like breaches the base, that could be the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah,
if you like cover your base.
And then I got a Windows notification.
Like sometimes
I'm getting everything today. Sorry, audio listeners.
Because sometimes it looks like it's relatively even, but one color will be like more consistently through its area.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, that's what did it.
No, yeah, like that map in particular does not seem like I'm not a fan of it just because of how wide it is.
It's super one-sided.
It's super one-sided. I feel like in competitive modes that map might be better if there's like an objective and it's not just fucking spawn trapping people. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays in comp. But in Turf Wars, it's definitely my least favorite map.
In Turf Wars, it was so easy to either pin down or get pinned down if you can't get anything going immediately.
I feel like my main
was that the map we got the times 100 victory on?
Yes, it was
by like the landslide.
Oh, by a landslide. Yeah,
that was nasty.
Yeah,
very nasty.
12% the opposing team got.
Yeah. I'll have to post that on Twitter. I have a clip of it somewhere. But yeah, it was pretty tragic. I think my main problem with the map so far is they all none of them feel particularly unique. Is my problem is I feel like, for example, you had like Museum del Alfonso felt a lot like other maps. Like one of the Splatoon 3 maps felt like one of the Splatoon 2 bring back maps, and it's like it's getting to it was like when you look, we only got 4 maps or something ridiculous at launch for Splatoon 1, right? It was a tragic lot. But the 4 we got was so unique because you had Black Belly Skate Park, which was all like skating like areas and all that. So the terrain was all like the terrain was in and out and all over the place all the time. You had Walleye Warehouse, which was very much a long, thin map, but it had those height differentials and all of that lot. Where it's like
had
a lot
you could go down also.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the maps in this game go for one of two things: smaller, like thin but wide, and extremely fucking wide but quite thin, like it's just the rectangle that way or the rectangle the other way. There's no real like variety to them. It feels like what's the map that we were playing a lot? Was it Scorch Gorge, the one with like the satellite thing? And it's like it's kind of round. That feels a lot like the museum map, because when the museum water, well, not the museum water. Yeah, the museum. I'm getting mixed up, but it feels a lot like the museum map because it has a kind of similar layout where it's kind of it's the 2 spawns and then there's one big massive fucking plane in the middle that you just have to fight over. And it's I feel like more variety is needed, and I'm hoping the maps that we haven't played kind of bring this variety in, because
it also
even like.
Go on, Kyle.
It also didn't help that because it was a Splatfest, all of the stages were taking place at night, so they all just kind of ended up looking the same.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of the aesthetic.
What were you going to say, Hunter? Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say those last 2 maps in the rotation that we played last night felt kind of samey, just because I felt like most of it was just straight away push, and I know they had their gimmick, like the resort did the thing where the water level dropped and suddenly you had more area to cover, and the other one had the bridge, but like conceptually they felt very similar.
Yeah, I feel like, and obviously I feel like it's perfectly fine going for a theme, right? Because like most first person shooters go do this, right, where it's like they have a theme, right? So it's like if you look at your generic like regular first person shooter, whatever, you'll be like, okay, the battlefield this time is doing 2040 as its theme, so everything's kind of got that semi-futuristic kind of look to it where everything's metal and looks the same. Or this game's doing a World War II setting, so everything's sand and beach and dirt and trenches, and you're like, fair enough, right? But I don't know what it is. Splatoon to me is more akin to a game like Overwatch than a Call of Duty, where when I see new maps, I'm expecting, okay, what vibrant, weird, wacky place are we going to this time? That was a fucking daddy longlegs that just tried to assassinate me. So apologies if it's red dots everywhere. I'm just gonna try and
it's
ignore
flying.
it. Yeah, they fly now. But I expect the kind of Walleye Warehouse to Black Belly Skate Park to even Moray Towers, where I'm like, everything feels like it lives in the world in a different location, feels unique. Same with Overwatch, where it's like the map Paris feels different to Horizon Lunar Colony. They're both ass maps, but they both feel drastically different because they're in completely different. But they still feel a part of that same world. My problem with the new Splatoon 3 maps is because they've all gone in on that Mad Max kind of apocalypse vibe, is they all kind of feel like in the world they'd just be exactly next to each other in the exact same location. So it feels more of that kind of iterative Call of Duty map design kind of style than it is the regular Splatoon, where it's like, okay, you can see it from the old Splatoon maps. Now we're in a resort. Now we're in a shopping mall. Now we're in a random warehouse. Now we're at the shipping docks. Now we're at a camp. It's like, the variety just doesn't seem there like it did. And trust me, I'm happy that we're getting 12 maps at launch. I'm not disappointed in that in the slightest. I just hope that the post-launch maps add more to that variety. I'm really hoping they're not doing Splatlands every single time for all these new maps. I also
or they do something different with it. Like, it'd be cool to do like the Mad Max thing on like an actual like urban location rather than kind of
like something like that. Just something more to it. Like I like it, but I also wish there's more. I also hope that they're not just going to bring back old maps to substitute that. I'm like, I'd like some new colourful locations as well. Like you were doing, I know the bridge level wasn't in the demo, how they have made that bridge level different from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 3 by having the bridge be no longer under construction. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's that. Shall we talk about Tricolour?
Begrudgingly.
Yeah.
So we were on Team Scissors, so we defended all night. What's your thoughts on Tricolour, boys?
It needs balancing work.
It needs some work, yeah. It's so unbalanced. Like, I wasn't shocked that we came dead last because we had nothing but pain in the Tricolour Splatfest, like, whatsoever. It was miserable.
Highlight there was the time that we fended off 4 arrow sprays and managed to win.
Oh my god!
That's the only time we won. Was the time that we fought against 4 arrow sprays.
Yeah,
it was stupid. It just doesn't feel balanced towards the defender at all. I also feel it sucks from a balance perspective. This is not even talking about the game. Is when you're on the defending, like when you're on the attacking side, there are 2 playlists. There's regular Splatfests and Tricolour, where the Tricolour one is like our playlist, where sometimes they're playing regular, sometimes they're going to Tricolour. But the other 2 teams still have the regular playlist where they're just playing regular Splatfest maps, whereas we're forced into this mosh pit of both, which just means that we get more losses by default. If there was an option for red team to go in there, the back to the original playlist as well, I feel like it'd be a lot more balanced in the first place. But no,
yeah, for sure.
It's just miserable, man, because it's literally, it's actually pain. I feel like it would work better if the map was, okay, red has to go all out on defending that point. If the other team gets that point, you lose. Not that you have to do that. Plus, on top of that, it's still a turf war, so you need to keep as much of the space yours as possible. It's so much to manage.
They're really just making the defenders do way too much work. Because it's protect the point, win the turf war, manage 2 different teams at once.
And it's like saying...
And even after you defend the Ultra Beacon, was that what it was? Yeah. Like, even after you defend that from someone trying to steal it, it just comes back immediately. There's no cooldown.
Even if the one team gets it as well, even if it gets it, it doesn't disappear for 20 seconds or whatever. It's just instantly back again. It's like, ta-da, it's back. Do you want to ruin their day as well?
And if the other teams get their Ultra Beacon, you can't do anything to stop it after that. It's just a permanent. It's just there the rest of the game.
It's a very interesting one. It's like, I like the idea, and I think with a bit of balance patching, it could work well. It's just from that, it was like, no wonder Scissors lost so badly. at the end of the day, because there was just nothing you could do, and it was just miserable. I remember we got to the end of our play session, and every time Tricolor came up, we were just fucking like sighing or just like no, or begrudgingly playing it or signing out because we were like, it's not gonna happen because the Rainmakers are just far too much work. Like it's like instantly. And I get it because they're like, there's only 2 blue and 2 yellow, so they need something that does give them the head up. But I feel like red balancing 2 teams is already like, it's basically a 2v. It's 2 lots of 2v2 going on both sides of the map, not 4v2v2. Because I feel like the devs must have thought, oh, there's 4 players, so they have the advantage. Where in reality, no, because you've got to deal with 2 of them and 2 of them, so it's still a 4v4. It's just your resources are split in half, and if there's no communication, you're basically fucked.
Essentially, it's a bummer too, because like conceptually, a 3-way turf war is kind of an interesting idea. Like if that had less gimmicks attached to it, I would like it more. Just
I feel like if the map was built for it more as well, I'd be like,
yeah, that wasn't
enough.
a great map for them to start the idea on, for sure. It's not a good showcase because the middle team the defending team didn't really even have like a home base to speak of like the other 2 did.
Yeah.
So there's less turf to even get built into yours.
And like the other maps, it was just way too claustrophobic.
Very claustrophobic. It's like there is no breathing room, and also it's like I felt like it's like, okay, defenders are spawning in the middle, but it didn't feel like the middle. We still had to like go out of our way to go there, and also because of the way the map was built, blue and yellow can very easily go to your spawns easier than you can go to theirs, because you're never going to go to their spawns, but they're constantly going to yours because they fucking can, because it's easy for them. And it's just like,
honestly, I feel like they probably should have spawned you like on top of the signal.
Yeah,
that way it would be like
or
an outward kind of push. Because if you die and they're making a push to the signal, you still have to even get there after you respawn in a manner that's detrimental to you.
No, definitely, I agree. And it's like my main gripe with that was, I feel like the Splatfest, the Tricolor needs a lot of work. Because, like I say, it just butchered Scissors' ranking. And I'm not butthurt that we lost or anything like that, but I'm like, when Paper, who got 17% of the fucking vote, by the way, we
played against a Paper team once
in 12 hours. Once. And it's the fact that they got 17% of the vote, but they still came second because Scissors was bullied that much in the second half. It's just, it really does need work, especially because now that people know this, people are going to join Splatfest halfway through, see who was winning, and pick one of the attacking sides just because they know they'll have a better chance. It's like,
or the meta's going to be to like sandbag it for the first half.
Or literally, I would not be surprised if the strat will start out, and hear me out. This is like a little cultish kind of prediction where we just keep it between ourselves. We're not going to tell anybody, right? This is my prediction. I believe by the end of Splatoon 3's life cycle, the strat will be pick Fry's team, and the reason for that is because the normies aren't going to pick her because she has a massive fucking 5-head, and so they're not picking her. So they're going to pick Shiver and Big Man because of course they are. So you always know that you're never going to win the first half. And from there, you can just dominate and instantly win. Because obviously the vote doesn't matter in the end. So why not?
Yeah.
So that's my prediction, is pros are going to go yellow every time if the colours stay the same. Which I hope they don't. Give us some variety. But no.
Yeah, give some variety. That would be nice.
So yeah, overall, you guys still hyped for Splatoon 3? Still getting it? Still looking forward to it?
I had a bunch of fun with that, and I'll be excited to have, throw that into the rotation, just screwing around, playing something.
Yeah.
Turn it on while I'm talking to people even.
Yeah, even after all the beatings we got from Tricolor Turf War last night, like there wasn't really a point where I'm like, all right, I'm done playing this game. I just need to put it down. No,
tapping out.
Stuck through for the whole 12 hours.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Splatoon has ever made me so tilted that I'm like, I can't stand to play another game.
Yeah, I got close. I did have to take a break at one point because the tricolor was really getting to me. The tricolor was really getting to me at one point, but
it was between tricolor and just the map rotations we were getting. Because
it was right before I joined. Kyle asked me where I was or something like that, and it was like, "Screw off! Who even are you?"
I was so butthurt. Really I was so butthurt. And then it was like, to be fair, it was like I was laughing to myself because I was like, I know it was funny, but then there was also the part of me that was like, oh god, Hunter's got zero context on this. I hope he's not just like I'm like, I hope Hunter's not like just going, oh, Ethan's just bullying me for no reason.
I think he knows you well enough at this point.
Yeah, I know, but you know, some people. It's the internet, Cal. You know what some people are like. You never know how your comments on the internet are gonna go down. A playful joke could turn into a fucking
a fucking essay on your YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But no, I'm really looking forward to this game still. It's gonna hold us over until whatever the fuck October and November is. At least. So no, I'm looking
hold us over for all the pushes that the 2023 games are gonna get.
Fucking hell, yeah. Well, hey, can't wait. But no, it'll carry us a little bit. You know, we've got games. Just there's a lot of
games.
I've got so many multiplayer games coming out. You know, you got that. Obviously, Fall Guys has got a new season coming up, so it's like gotta play that again. Overwatch 2, my normie friends will probably want to play that. So it's like, oh god. Too much multiplayer, dude. It's like the opposite, where it's like no multiplayer was in my life for so long, and now there's too much of it. And no single player games, but at least we got Persona again. That's all that matters.
That'll tide you over.
It sure will.
Dude, the thing is it's like it's such a busy time, and God of War's like just a couple of weeks away. Where I'm like, I don't even know if that like. The past 4 months would have been a great time for that to come out and be like, it's Persona
I know
time.
what you mean.
Now after playing Xenoblade 3 kind of scratched that itch for me a lot because that game's fab. And now I'm playing AI the Somnium Files, and I played the original like a couple months ago. I played so much JRPG, like Japanese kind of storytelling.
Just weird Japanesey things, yeah.
That I'm like, you know, I might just need to like I might hold Persona a bit longer. At least I'll have the copies, but like I might just have to hold it a bit longer. We'll see. But no. Anyway, Splatoon's coming out. It'll be great. Get it if you like Splatoon. Don't get it if you don't like Splatoon.
Wow. If you don't like Splatoon, you might not have a soul.
If you don't like Splatoon, you might like Elden Ring, because apparently everybody else does.
Game of the year.
Maybe you'll like Xenoblade 3. That game's great. You should play Xenoblade 3. Definitely didn't make me cry like a fucking wuss. It definitely didn't. Not twice either. Definitely not twice. Those are the times I remember. Maybe it was more. Anyway, so from a massive W to a massive L, let's talk about PlayStation, am I right? So, Hunter, do you want to give us a rundown of what's essentially happening with PlayStation right now as they burn their bridges and scream this is fine?
So I didn't think that they would ever return to arguably even being more boneheaded than they were in the start of the PS3 generation, but they are now increasing the price of the PS5 in regions outside of America. Hi, Europe.
Just literally everywhere that isn't North America. Literally every other region is getting a price increase except for North America.
Did they specify by how much yet, or is that still
the prices are out there? I can have a look real quick. You just explain the principle. Yeah, you explain the general stuff. I'll just go and quickly look.
So basically, they're blaming inflation because that's what every company likes to do, and they're like, that's what every company loves to do when they really don't need to raise their prices. They'll be like, oh, that dirty inflation making you pay more, even though, you know, record profits for a lot of these people all the time. It's a poor excuse. And like,
okay, right, I have the prices here.
People yeah, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Finish your point. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, people even debunked the whole inflation argument for games rising to 70 by like comparing it to like how Blu-rays and DVDs didn't really change to become more expensive. And like with that, I was like,
my argument with that is fair enough. Changing from $60 to $70, changing from
I was
50
like,
to
it's honestly
£70 is a
shocking.
massive fuck off.
That's a
my
different,
book.
yeah,
Like,
that's
Jesus Christ.
substantially
That's not
different.
inflation. That's bollocks. That's what that is.
Yeah, it
Jim
is.
Ryan.
But yeah, what are the new prices then?
Okay, so in Europe, the PS5 has gone up from €499.99 to €549.99, so a €50 increase. That's for both for digital and regular. They both went up by €50. In the UK, it's gone up £30, which is from from £449.99 to £479.99. The disc edition has gone from £349 to £389, so that's gone up by £40, I believe. So the digital went up more, which is great, than the disc version. In Japan is one of the worst. I don't have the before and after, but it's now up to 60,500 yen or 49,500 yen. I don't have the before prices, but just to put into effect how much Japan's been fucked by, that's a price increase of 20%.
Jesus.
20%.
You know what the dumb thing is, like, there were ways to do this without like making it like, oh, screw you guys for just raising the prices outright.
We'll get to that.
Just instead.
Yeah. In fact, say it now. Yeah.
I was gonna say, just instead, maybe just make it so that only bundles are available and take the hit. Like,
that's what I said. That's my that's the way you do it. I would have 100% would have said, due to inflation, we are now only selling bundles, and like come out with a new bundle. Have like you have your Horizon bundle. Say, okay, we're gonna have a God of War bundle in November. There's gonna be a Horizon bundle, and we're gonna go back and we're gonna do a Ratchet bundle, or we're gonna do a Spider-Man bundle. Fuck it, do whatever you need to do. Take that loss on digital, because basically
that's easier to swallow.
It's also a smarter move. Instead of going, okay, the PS5, which was already a profitable console to be selling, they were already making a profit, not much, but they were making a profit. It's probably a lot easier for them to go, okay, let's just take the loss on a digital game, not even a disc game, so it's not even costing you money. Let's just take the loss on a digital game to keep the price, quote unquote, low. So it's like, okay, we're losing money still, but we're losing it on that digital sale of Horizon, or we're losing it on that digital sale of Ratchet instead. Because then, you might get people that bitch about it because you're forcing people to buy a game, and with it being digital, they can't really resell that game as easily. But at the same time, it's better than this fucking alternative where you're literally having to just pay more for the same, right? It's absolutely ridiculous.
Because like,
don't understand.
I had to buy my PlayStation 5 in a big old GameStop hoopla bundle where they gave me basketball and Spider-Man and an extra controller and all sorts of other stuff that I sold back and basically paid for Returnal with. But even then, like, even if I had to pay a little bit more and couldn't do that, at least I was being given games.
It's like, I just don't understand it. It's like, what do companies do when their consoles aren't selling as hot, or in this case, they want to like, they bundle a game in. Like, Nintendo's known for this. Nintendo do this all the fucking time, where they're like, we'll bundle a game in, we'll do this, and it's like, just take the loss on the digital game. Do you know what would have been a great game for this? Just gonna tell you this right now. Last of Us Part 1 would have been a great fucking game to do this.
That would have been a great thing to do with, because then people wouldn't have to be like,
PlayStation.
There would be less argument about I can't believe you're charging $70 for this, blah, 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 blah.
Should have genuinely been like, or just anything, just take a hit on something. Go, okay, guys, because of this, we're increasing the prices of this. But to compensate for you, here's the price difference in the new PlayStation Plus, or something. Literally, just fucking anything. Take the hit. If the costs of production are that taxing on you, and inflation are that taxing on you on the hardware, then take a hit on some software. It's like, it's just so fucking brain dead, because now not only do you look incompetent, but you've given Nintendo and Xbox a free fucking pass to just be like, we're not changing our price, and have that be a fucking win. Yeah, but have it be a win.
Honestly, because of Xbox, being under the Microsoft umbrella and being like obscenely rich. They've proven that they have screw you money out the wazoo with their purchases of Activision and Bethesda. If I was in charge of them, I would even be like, yeah, let's drop ours by $50, because then it would be extremely hard to make someone or have someone who doesn't have a new console already justify buying a PS5 to themselves.
And like I say,
$100 difference.
And like I say, PlayStation should know this. They know from the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One launch how much a price point matters. Because literally, Xbox came out, said $500, and then Sony literally came out fucking 5 hours later, just walked on stage and said $399 and walked off. And the power of a price like
it was
that
what
is
happened
ridiculous.
with the PS3 and 360 too. They wanted $600 for the PS3, and I don't remember what the 360's price was, but it was less than that.
It was like
I think that happened with the PS1 and the Dreamcast too.
Yeah, same. Yeah, the price point is. I just don't understand how you just don't take that loss on software. Literally do anything you can. Be like, okay, guys, for the foreseeable future, due to inflation, we're only selling the bundle. We're only selling the Horizon bundle, or we're only selling the God of War bundle, or the Last of Us Part 1 bundle from now on until inflation either fixes itself or whatever. Or until we decide what to do with America. Because I feel like this is just a massive fuck you, and it's another example of Sony, they've been doing this the entire fucking console generation at this point, which is fuck everything that isn't America. That has been Sony's fucking plan right now from the start. Whether it's, America was the first place was basically the first place in the world, bar a few countries in Asia, I believe, to get the PlayStation 5. It's to this day, that whole Discover tab that's on the PS5 or whatever, that's still only for America, by the way. They said that it was starting in America and they were bringing that back to everything else. Still not here, nearly 2 years later in every other country. PlayStation Plus, the new PS Plus, came to fucking America first, before Europe. And it's just like, I just don't understand what their plan is, because it's, it's like, Microsoft right now just has that upper hand where it's like all their stuff day and date on Game Pass. And it's like, even if I was to go and look at next gen, Xbox games, right? If I was to go and look for Forza, right? Forza Horizon 5, right? Which is one of their next gen games. What was its launch price? Yeah, it was cross gen, but it was the regular £55, which was what cross-gen was kind of like what that kind of region was staying at. And it's like 70 quid for a PS5 version. And it gets even stupider when it's like, we had the whole Horizon debate earlier this year where it was like, there's a free PS4 upgrade. So it's your choice, guys.
But
you can either pay So you can pay either £60 for the PS4 copy with a free PS5 upgrade, or you can pay £70 for the PS5 version with no chance of playing the PS4 version. I'm like, what is this? What is this fucking, like, is Jim Ryan stupid? I think he is. I think at this point he's stupid.
It doesn't make sense. It's like they think that, your games are nice, and that's the reason that I choose to play the console, but it's like, you're going so anti-consumer in a manner that if I didn't already have a PlayStation 5, and I wouldn't be shocked if they upped the price in America at some point.
I think they will. I think it's a matter of time, to be honest.
Yeah, if I didn't already have a PlayStation 5, I would be like, okay, well, Xbox was already like, this is the generation that if I get an Xbox, it will probably happen. And if that were to happen, if I didn't have my PS5 and they upped the price, I'd be like, okay, well, thanks for making my decision for me.
Especially when Xbox is making those moves where it's like,
they've already been way more pro-consumer for sure.
And it's just like, it's like, even if, because like with Acquisition Central and all this bollocks going around, right? It's like, even if it's like we end up in that doom and gloom scenario where PlayStation does end up getting the rest of Square, right? This Japanese version of Square, which everybody for some reasons thinks is going to happen. It's like, apparently this is writing on the wall of Square is trying to sell up. And I'm like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. But, it's like, even if they do that, Xbox has been going out of their way to be like, hey, Atlas, bring over not just Persona, but fucking Soul Hackers too, a game that no one would have even batted an eyelid if there was no Xbox version, because most people would have been like, yeah, it's Atlas, they're not going to release something like that on Xbox, but they did, and they're bringing Persona over, and on day one of that release, it'll be on Game Pass, and it's just like, they're doing it with everybody else. They went to Square to get Dragon Quest over here, on Xbox, They're doing all that stuff where it's just like it just feels right now that from someone who mostly plays on PlayStation when it comes to third party, it's just like Sony's just fucking dropping the ball in every which possible way, and it's like you can say that some of it is like, they can't have any control over Activision being acquired. They can't do anything like that. None of that's their fault. But all of this shit, like price increases,
goofing up things that are in their control is the problem.
Yeah, price increases, the ridiculous prices for their first-party games outside of the US. Like, my favorite thing is laughing at people who are complaining about $70, thinking, imagine if it was 85, because that's basically what we're paying every time. Tee-hee, funny smile. And it's just like, I just don't know how much longer like you can keep it up, dude. Like genuinely, if it like, I just don't know. I feel like they're gonna have to do a lot of goodwill with PS Extra at this point.
Yeah, it does increase. It does further that trend of whoever was winning, like in quotes, the last generation seems to just goof it up the next time. It took a little longer this time, but
but when it's the one that matters as well, when it's like I feel like this generation's particularly important. It's like, because, the writing's on the wall, and it's like, okay. I feel like Xbox will always be fine. I feel like Xbox, if Xbox just becomes cloud streaming or whatever, they'll be fucking fine living in their little perfect world. They don't care about it. Nintendo will always be Nintendo, unless someone acquires them, which is very fucking rare to happen. Like, that's like a once in a blue moon opportunity. They're going to be fine living in their world. Sony's the one that should be worried, because everybody else can do what Sony wants better, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like the only thing that can happen to Sony is even worst case scenario is like someone buying PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like someone mentioned, I don't know who it was. I saw someone mention on Twitter that if Apple wanted to get into the gaming industry, I think that's what they'd do. And I'm like, you're right. Apple is such a fucking, like, PlayStation is such an Apple brand, because PlayStation
look at the way the PS5 looks.
Because PlayStation is so up their own arse of, we're PlayStation, we're for the players. This is where the gamers are. Where are my gamers? Look at my white UFO. And it's like, yeah.
It is exactly the same kind of people who would buy an overpriced phone every year.
Really, yeah, the same machine, now fucking more expensive a year later. That's a very Apple thing to be doing, and it's like, it's just like, it's an absolute fucking tragedy, to be honest. And it's just like, I don't know, my faith in PlayStation lowers each and every fucking day, it seems. Especially when it's like, I do too, but also, I also wish, for the love of anything, that Sony would make something that isn't a third-person action game. I'd fucking love it with all my heart. Because the closest we got was Returnal to something that wasn't an open world third person game, and that's just a third person kind of like Metroidvania kind of roguelike thing, and I'm like, okay, cool, still third person, but at least it was something interesting and new.
Yeah, the closest departures we have are Returnal, and then like Death Stranding was exclusive for a while, and that was unlike most of their other offerings, even if the bones of it were similar.
And still third person open world. It's like, I don't know, like looking at, I hate to make the Xbox comparison, because it's like, it makes me look like I'm an Xbox fanboy when I've owned an Xbox for fucking 8 months of my life, right? It's like, I had a 360 back in the day and played 0 fucking Xbox exclusives on it. But it's like, when you look at their lineup now, and you're like, okay, they have Activision, so not only do they have now a massive linear first-person shooter series, which even if it's not exclusive will be on Game Pass day one, for sure. They have the family IPs, they have Crash and Spyro, which they'll 100% do something with. They've got Double Fine making quirky things over there with Tim Schafer. That's always going to be something unique that's over there. They have a bunch of RPG studios. Sony has fuck all. They make these pseudo RPGs, which is just numbers on gear, which makes me want to cry every time.
Yeah, I don't like when they do that.
You know, it's like, yes, PlayStation has fucking Bungie, but, you know, Destiny just makes me cry every time because that game's so fucking up its own arse that I'm like, I don't want to play you. I don't want to require 6 million hours of my life and 7 bajillion expansions on something that's not
and
even
their
an
answer to
MMO.
this third-person action thing seems to be pivoting to just making a bunch of live service games, which I also could do without. That being what their new direction is as well.
It's like, I'm interested in seeing what they are because of the people that are working on them, but I also have no faith. It's like how, you know, Jade Raymond really did. She really did kind of was on the front end. She kind of pioneered this kind of genre with the rest of the first team on Assassin's Creed that kind of made the modern day open world video game. I'm like,
Yeah.
Fair enough, you've had an interesting lineage. Deviation Games is made up of some of the people that created Call of Duty Zombies and did the only thing that was kind of unique and creative in that universe. So I'm like, that's interesting to me. I really do hope. My hope for them is they're doing a co-op game and they make something similar to like Left 4 Dead or something more unique that's like their own instead of just a Call of Duty clone. Is my hope, but it's like still. Where's the unique Sony stuff? You know, where's Gravity Rush? Where's all the Japan Studio stuff? Where's Sly? Where's Jack? Where's all your younger audience stuff? Yeah, you have Sackboy and Ratchet, but Ratchet comes in once every 6 years.
Because Insomniac has to make like 4 other things.
They're making 2 Marvel games,
the only ones
you know?
with like any kind of pace to their output.
Maybe they're making a new Ratchet. I hope they're making a new Ratchet, but you know, I wouldn't.
I don't know if they're making it right now, but I'm sure that they're going to. You know,
if they are, it's in very pre-production. But
yeah,
I just really hate how Sony's in a state right now where you can just look at everybody and go, okay, Sucker Punch is making another Ghost of Tsushima. Okay,
there's no
Guerrilla Games
surprise.
is going to make another Horizon. Maybe them. Apparently, Guerrilla's been working on a second project, but knowing them, it's probably a fucking shooter. What do you fucking do? Okay. Same with Sony Santa Monica. They're making Cory Barlog's directing something that's new, a new IP. I'm very excited, I'm not excited. I'm fucking lying. I'm excited to see what Cory does because Cory's great at what he does. But I don't have any excitement because we know nothing about it. And knowing our look, it's a fucking sci-fi shooter, and I'm gonna cry. And it's
because we don't have enough of those coming out.
Oh my god, everything's still in space.
Genuinely, I feel like it's crazy that they're all ticking the box. It's like there is no real Sony first party RPG. Like, period. There just isn't. You have these pseudo RPGs, but there's no RPG. Go over to fucking Xbox, they have Bethesda and Obsidian just cranking them out like it's no one's business. Well, cranking them out, fucking Bethesda once every 20 years, but you know, Obsidian's making them. They've got devs for RPGs, they've got strategy games, they've got racing games. Yeah, Sony's got Gran Turismo, but look what they fucking did to that. And it's just like...
And Sony also owns Legend of Dragoon, but they're not going to do anything with that.
No.
Because that's a silly PS1 game that only Kyle cares about.
And it's like, it sucks that the only like solution that's in these in these people's heads is acquisitions. Because it's like, Sony, why don't you get someone...
going to the vault.
You know, I'm sure Sucker Punch or Guerrilla or anybody could make a great RPG, but instead, I know what your fucking answer is going to be, and it's going to be, can we afford Square Enix and get Final Fantasy to be an exclusive? And it's just like, oh god, kill me, please, stop, end the suffering. Like, I'm just so sick and tired of Jim Ryan's shitty attitude.
Face.
Genuinely, shitty attitude. Like, Sean Layden, say what you want about Sean Layden, because some of the modern Sony problems are his fault, because he did kind of tell every studio to go and make these third-person action open-world games. So it's like, it did come from him, but also, he's the person that went to Activision and went, you should make a Crash Bandicoot game. We'll help you publish it. We'll pay for part of the development. Crash Bandicoot should come back, and so should Spyro. We'll do a medieval remaster. You know, Gravity Rush 1 was on the Vita. It didn't sell too hot, but let's do a remaster from Bluepoint and then make a second one because we liked the IP. It's like stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like he knew like that you couldn't just live on these third-person action games. You had to sprinkle in other things for a little bit of variety.
Yeah, because you do need that, and it's like I feel like Xbox has learned what Sony was doing originally, where it's like, what do you want to make? Go and make it. You know, it's like they're not going to go and tell Double Fine to go and make something very specific. They're just going to go, hey, Double Fine, what you want to make? Cool, go make it. Have fun with that. You do that because it's an asset. Just having variety is an asset for a console.
Yeah.
Whereas Sony has now gone down the path of Ghost of Tsushima 2, Days Gone didn't sell enough, Days Gone didn't do well enough on Metacritic, so you're going to have to go and make a different open world fucking pseudo RPG video game that's not Days Gone 2. Sorry about that. But we will make a movie from it because there's not enough generic zombie movies.
Oh, right. I forget when, that was like last week or something. That perplexed me beyond all belief. I'm like, okay,
not good enough for another game, but good enough for a shitty adaptation. So you can't
make a second game, but you can make a mediocre movie and not even cast the guy who has like actual acting experience who played the main character in it.
It's like ridiculous. It's like it's genuinely like, it's one of those things where I'm like, it's like if they made a Red Dead adaptation and then they didn't go to fucking Arthur Clarke at all. Or
Roger Clark, Arthur was his son.
Oh yeah, Roger Clark. That's it. Roger Clark. That's his name. I'm like, he's that good at the character. He is the character. But no, Roger Clark. Or God, what's his name that plays John Marston? I don't remember what his name is. Is it Dan?
Shoot, I can't remember.
But you know, it's like not going to that cast because that cast is like they could very well play those roles because they are those roles essentially. They don't put on a void. They specifically went to people who would very much sound like those characters and be those characters, and it's just like so dumb. Like the fact that they're even looking at doing Gravity Rush as a fucking something like as like a TV show or a movie as well, and I'm like, you fucking sent that to die. Why? I'm
honestly,
like, the first couple work. The first couple, I'm like, fair enough. Like, I still think it's funny that they were like, no, a Sly Cooper TV show, that wouldn't work. But, you know, it's Gravity Rush,
Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal with Anthony Mackie, yeah, that'll work. So anyway, Sony will be dead soon, and I can't wait for Tom Holland to star in the Uncharted reboot video games. Can't wait. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude, genuinely. Fucking... God, I don't miss Uncharted. Don't bring it back. Please, for the love of anything.
Honestly, let it stay.
You know, I replayed Uncharted. I replayed a bit of Uncharted 4.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, damn, this is a good ass game. But then I got to the bit at the end with is it too soon to talk about spoilers? I know it's been 7 years. Is 7 years too soon to talk about Uncharted 4 spoilers?
Man, I still haven't played these games. And I've owned my PS4 since like 2017.
Well, basically, it ends with a flash forward, and he has a kid, right? And she's also into the stuff, and she basically finds out about it. So they basically left the door open of being like, Nathan Drake's story's done, but he has a daughter, so one day she could potentially, you know, go and be the new Nathan Drake. And to be honest, she was like, what, 15? And it's like, it's getting to the point now where it's like, oh shit, she'd be like in her mid-20s. She's basically our age. I'm like, God, I'm scared because that reboot could come at any second at this stage. And I'm like, oh God.
You know what the funny thing is, like, considering what they did with the Lost Legacy thing, is that they didn't even need to set that up because you already have another cool thief kind of character hanging around in the universe. You got a few of them. Like, Chloe is great.
Yeah, and it's like at first I was like, oh, that's cool. I really like that. And it's like, yeah, like from the literal 5 minutes you see of, is her name Cassie? I think it was Cassie Drake on it. I don't remember what her name was. But it's like the 5 seconds you see of it, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But then when I played it again now, like, because I was like, we were like, God, how old were we when we played that game? Like, I was like 16, 17 when Uncharted 4 came out.
Came out in 2016, so
18,
we
19.
Graduating.
18, 19, yeah.
Something I didn't play it until a couple of years later, so I was...
Yeah, I played it when I was 18. I'm trying to figure it out, right? So I was 18, so I was like, oh, you know, I was like, hey, that's cool. Because it's like, that character's close enough to my age where I'm like, oh, cool, so when I'm in my 30s, if they make an Uncharted, there'll be somebody that will also be my age, and that'll be pretty interesting. But now I look at it, and I'm like, I'm like, she's just Elena, but like fucking 15. I'm like, there's no difference here. I'm like, you've got the characters already. Like, come on, Sony. I was just like, I'm surprised. You're like your mum, but young. What the fuck is this? Like,
Man, who would have guessed?
Genetics are wacky.
Genetics are whack. You're like your mum and your dad combined, but younger. Cringe. What is this? But no, it's just that's the peak of PlayStation right now. That's what we have to look forward to. Is like, oh, if you're lucky, you get an Uncharted reboot with the fucking young like with Nathan Drake's daughter. I'm like, great. Tomb Raider. Then sounds great.
Tomb Raider.
Can't wait.
Yeah, Tomb Raider.
That's literally
God.
Oh well. It's a shame because, like I say, it's like I love Uncharted. I loved when Uncharted came out. I loved when Uncharted was new. I still love Horizon. I still liked God of War, not as much as everybody else, but I still liked God of War. It's just when these games take 7 bajillion years to come out and that's all you're getting, it's like...
Yeah, it's a little disheartening.
I'm sick and tired. I probably will like a new Uncharted, but we're not going to get it, and if we did, I'd really hope it wasn't Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
What's Naughty Dog doing? Please don't be Last of Us 3. I don't want another depressing zombie game. Please.
But that's all they do now, Ethan.
Yeah, do you want to talk about it? Let's wrap it up with fucking Geoff Keighley's mess of a fucking show. If you're wondering why we didn't cover it, because it was shit, that's the answer.
There was nothing worth talking about.
God.
I think the fact that it concluded with Dead Island 2 as its one more game is pretty emblematic of what kind of show it is.
Am I stupid? I thought people weren't even hot on the first Dead Island. I thought people were like, it was fine.
People liked it, but it wasn't like anything too crazy. Like, I played it with my brother and enjoyed it well enough, but I also, it's not something I would have played on my own. And like, I feel like Dying Light also kind of filled the niche.
The highest score it got was at 80. On PS3 and Xbox 360, it got a 71. On the remaster for PS4 and Xbox One, it got a 63 and a 67, bro.
Jeez!
Edge gave it a 3 out of 10. IGN gave it an 8, so that's about a 3 out of 10, man. Hey, got him.
Yeah.
But no, like, this... I remember people came out and it was like, it's fine. And then they made another one called like Dead Island Riptide or something.
Yeah, it was Riptide because for the longest time I was just under the impression that was 2 and they called it something cute. And so for a while I was like, why are people still talking about a 2 when that existed? And then, 2 just kind of went off to
and it's just like
languish away.
I honestly think it's one of those things where people are only excited and hyped for it in the same way that Duke Nukem Forever was. Hyped.
Because it's been a meme forever.
Because it's been a meme for it. Yeah, people don't care about Dead Island 2 because the only reason they care is because it was announced in like 2013, 2014, and it just never showed up. And it's just like people are like, oh yeah, look, that game's still being made. Like when The Last Guardian came back. But no one cares at the end of the day. And if it's anything like Saints Row 2022, because it's the same fucking publisher, it's just going to be ass anyway. Like,
yeah, it probably won't be super great, to be honest. Like, I watched the trailer for that one, and I wasn't super impressed there. I was like,
I looked at it, and I was like, anything that you were trying to do, I feel like, what's it called? The zombie parkour game.
Dying Light. Because that's exactly the audience that Dying Light was satisfying, because it was like some of the original developers from Dead Island.
Yeah, I feel like it's just Dying Light. Again, but without the parkour, and I'm like,
except it's going to be less mobile now. Honestly, going backwards to Dead Island again would be a bit perplexing. I feel like I didn't even play Dying Light 2. Going backwards to Dead Island would be. I feel like I'd have my options shot a little bit.
I feel like I don't know what audience that game's like intended for, like, at all.
I guess people who still like played Dead Island 2 Dying Light and want another one, I guess.
Yeah, but like, do fucking Deep
Come
Silver,
on, give me another zombie game.
THQ Nordic actually give a shit? Because it's like the Saints Row reboot. Who was that for? Apparently nobody. Because they managed to fucking disappoint the intended audience, the fans of Saints Row and the people who they were promising it, and the fans of Saints Row 2 who they were promising it was going to be more like. They ended up literally pleasing nobody.
Yeah, there's like a hypothetical audience here. I don't know if it's going to be executed well. I heard them talking about some of the way that they render like the damage on things, where apparently like actually scans like the cuts and stuff in an interesting fashion, but that's not enough. That kind of visual
like
detail,
marketing to me if I've ever heard
that kind of visual detail wouldn't be enough to actually get me to play the game. It's like something if it pops up in Dead Space, I'll be all about.
That sounds like a Modern Warfare 2019. We're saying this so we get nominated for a Game Award kind of spiel. You know what I mean, guys? Our sound design's incredible, and it's just another Call of Duty game, but they get nominated because they keep saying
because this game's
sound
coming
design.
out and because this game is coming out in like February, no one's gonna remember it.
Thank fuck for that. Well, people aren't going to remember Saints Row, and it came out in August, dude. I wouldn't be surprised if that franchise is dead. Hooray!
Oh, man, they killed it.
I'd say I'm sad, but I saw the gameplay of the new Saints Row, and I'm like, go to bed. Your time is now. Go to rest. Like, we'll probably get a PS5 version of Saints Row 4 at some point, and that'll be the end of it. And we just say salut and goodbye.
The only thing I've seen about Saints Row is that there's a Zohar in it from Xenosaga.
There is.
And I don't know why it's there.
Neither
it's
do
not
I.
even made by the same people.
No, they like throwing references in, but I don't know. People bitched about Saints Row 3 and 4, saying they didn't like them, and I'm like, look at you now. You should have just been happy enough with Saints Row 3 and 4 and leave it at that. You guys cried. You guys cried when they added superpowers. Why don't you cry now that they just made a shit game, okay? Because at least the superpowers were fun. At least it was a good game. At least you could go around shooting people with a dubstep gun. The only good use for dubstep.
What a disappointing game for people like Erica Lindbeck and Max Middleman to be trapped in.
Dude, like, you look at their voice cast, and then you see the lines that they were given, and you're like, you poor fucking people. Like, genuinely. Like, you signed on before reading a script, because, geez, that script is horrendous. Like, I thought people were overplaying how bad Saints Row's dialogue was, and then I watched some, gameplay of it, and I was like, no, you're right. This is bad. Like, Saints Row's always had a cheesy kind of script and all that jazz, but I feel like they don't I feel like instead of it just being, yeah, this is cringe and we're going for the cringe, it's, what would Azuma say? It's like, oh no.
Oh, it's kind of like how a lot of the awkwardness in Life is Strange's writing came from the fact that it was very clearly a grown man trying to write for the perspective of a teenage girl.
Yeah, saying hella every other line. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But oh god, what a tragedy. Anyway, other tragedies from opening night live was everything. I genuinely, like, what were the highlights? Did you see the Callisto Protocol gameplay, Hunter?
Hideo Kojima.
No, I didn't watch that, mostly because I'm sure it was, again, the best thing that Keeley had.
It was. People said that it was the best thing at the show. Yeah, people said that.
It's just like, I don't need to watch another trailer for that, because I'm going to get it anyway, and the other trailer already made me go, ooh, I can't wait for that. So I don't need to watch another one and potentially, like, overexpose it to
I feel
myself.
like it's looking at this point that that's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if they were able to fabricate, you know, like how Saints Row fabricated that it'd be a functional video game during its press.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially with a linear game like that, I feel like at this point we've seen that much of it that I'm like, I doubt that this is going to be anything less than good enough, you know? Like, I feel like it's going to hit whatever it's trying to hit. Whether it's excellent or not will be a different story, but I feel like it's going to at least hit what
I feel like there's a good chance it'll be, like, very good, though.
Yeah. I mean, everything else genuinely was just fucking tragic. Like, not gonna lie.
I saw that trailer for the Lies of P, which I guess, if we take out Callisto Protocol, is the not a very high bar to clear, but to me the most interesting looking thing. But that's not even me thinking that the game is going to be necessarily overwhelmingly good. It's just, oh, you kind of look aesthetically similar to Bloodborne without maybe some of the Eldritch Monster stuff sprinkled in, and I already like that aesthetic, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just like, there's just a load of stuff where it was like, I'm honestly sick of this. It's like they showed another Gotham Knights thing, I believe, and I was like, I'm so sick of Gotham Knights now, where the prediction has come true, where it's like, I'm not buying that game. It looks ass. Like, I've had enough now. All the good faith is gone. And it's like, not only were you already showing 4 characters that look unfinished, every single one of them looks unfinished and the gameplay looks rushed to fuck. Also, you've not shown a single piece of storyline from it. I thought this game was supposed to be about Batman being dead in the Court of Owls. I've not seen a single fucking piece of information about that, by the way. But you're now showing that fucking Clayface, Harley Quinn, and some other character, which I don't even remember, are also all villains in this game as well. And I'm like, fucking hell.
Probably King Shark. It sounds like they're just recruiting the Harley Quinn TV show crew.
What even is this video game anymore? It just... Yeah, Gotham Knights gameplay showcase. I don't even know if this was that opening night live. Maybe I just saw it afterwards. Either way, fucking piss take.
I think he said it would be. But... So,
fucking sick of it. Also,
I saw clips from that High on Life game that's like the Rick and Morty whatever, and oh my god, I wasn't gonna buy that game anyway, but the little clip from whatever I don't know if it was I don't know if they put it in the trailer that the Gamescom thing showed, because I just skimmed.
Is it the one with the kid? Is it the bit with the kid?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, look at how messed up this is. And it's like straight up an entire minute of no one shutting up.
Oh, it's like, I remember watching...
Why is this like the middle shelf writing comedy?
I remember watching Rick and Morty.
Galaxy.
I remember watching Rick and Morty season 1 and going, this is unique. It's kind of fun. I enjoyed Rick and Morty seasons 1 and 2 because I was like, okay,
yeah, the
bit hasn't gotten old. And it's like unique enough that nothing else is like this. And now it's to the point where Justin Roiland does the exact same thing in everything. And I'm like, please stop. Come up with a different bit. Like, High on Life just feels like Rick and Morty. And I'm like, Rick and Morty's got to the point now where it's so unfunny to me that I'm just like done with it. Where it's like the idea of your weapons kind of being your companion and be like talking to you and bouncing off you is an interesting idea. I just wish it wasn't Justin Roiland's voice and a Rick and Morty fucking script coming out of it. Because
yeah, right now it comes off like a Netflix adaptation of Soul Eater. And what I imagine that would be like, because that had like sentient weapons and stuff. And we know Netflix is bad at adapting things and has the same kind of, cool comedy writing from the little bit of Cowboy Bebop. And that's exactly
comedy. We mean our characters never stop talking.
Yeah, God, can't let a moment speak for itself or actually set something up cleverly.
Yeah, that game really fucking irked me. The fucking metaverse fucking first thing.
Oh my god.
Video thing that they showed, which was like a video. It's called like Everywhere or something, or Everything, and it just looks like it's like, hey guys, we're not an NFT thing, but we probably are an NFT thing. And I'm like, that looks cringe. Looks better than Mark Zuckerberg's fucking Horizon, whatever the bollocks that screenshot came from this week, but everything else looks better than that. So, it's not much contest.
There are like 700 space games.
700 space games, 700 fucking RP, like medieval kind of fantasy games that all look the same. That June MMO was interesting until it was an MMO, and then we were like, oh, desert MMO? No, thank you. I'm good. There was something else that I really fucking hated, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Let's have a look. Oh, Tales from the Borderlands looked like... I'm very mixed on Tales from the Borderlands because they're trying to go, hey guys, same crew. We promise it's the same writers. And I'm like, I don't believe you, Gearbox, because your writing's still shit. I don't believe you. Yeah. Not in the chat. Like, oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Hogwarts Legacy. The main reason I wanted to talk about that was because they were like showing off like the Dark Arts, like special deluxe DLC, whatever, and I'm like,
that was a DLC?
What even is this game now? I'm like, yeah, it's like a pre-order. If it's like in the digital deluxe edition, you get like Dark Arts stuff or whatever, and I'm like, what is this game anymore? Like, it's getting Gotham Knights syndrome where I'm like, what the fuck is this? I thought this was a Harry Potter game where you just became a student and you just lived your life and it was an RPG where a story happens and you just play through your year at Hogwarts is what I thought this fucking was. And the more I see of this game, I'm like, what the fuck is it?
Why do one thing well when we can do a million things bad?
Terribly.
Mediocre.
That seems to be the fucking...
Not even bad, mediocrely. You're right, Hunter. Mediocre. That's the word of Geoff Keighley's special. Mediocre.
Honestly, one of my favorite trailers from the entire thing was the Goat Sim trailer. That was one of my favorites because at least Goat Sim knows what it is, and it was just a very stupid trailer. And I was just like, I respect that. I liked it quite a bit.
I saw the Monkey Island trailer, and that one made me chuckle because that game's writing seems to know exactly what it wants to do, and from everything I understand about that series, it is pretty funny.
People really hate the art style on that one. I'm like, guys,
I don't know why. It looks fine to
another
me.
Monkey Island. It looks
so
fine.
Much so that they bullied the creator of it.
Yeah, I'm like...
Into not wanting to share anything about his game.
What did Rod Gillett do? Like, what did Rod Gillett do to deserve
leave
this?
him alone.
You should just be happy that you're getting a new Monkey Island.
Only one of the other developers that were on any of these showcases, like...
Let's not forget the big announcement. Hideo Kojima's got a podcast coming to Spotify. Thanks.
So genuinely, Kojima's podcast upstaged most of the things that was actually about video games, and it's hilarious to me.
I'm just looking at everything else that got announced. I guess the only things we missed were PlayStation doing a Pro controller like 5 years after Xbox did it. So congrats, Jim. You're really showing Xbox what's for, dude.
Yeah.
Now you can solve controller drift by taking the analog out of your controller and then sticking another one in, sold separately.
Yeah.
Just in time for the PS5 price hike.
Pro controllers crack me up because, like, I understand maybe if you're actually like doing some sort of esports level thing where you might need them, but all the people I know are just dudes who play Call of Duty casually. I'm like, dude, you don't need a back pedal. You're not. Now you have more buttons to die to your opponent quicker with.
Dude, the only reason I would get one is like that idea of being able to be like, okay, I can swap the analog out if it gets stick drift, or I can do this and that, you know, instead of having
an easy R2 button replacement or whichever trigger you busted the spring in.
Exactly, because, you know, I get through controllers quite a bit. I feel like I got through 6 million PS4 controllers, so it's actually interesting. Like, it's probably going to be like 200 quid, and I'm not going to buy one. But, you know, if it was a reasonable price, I probably would. If it was the cost of like 2 DualSenses, I probably would get one, because I'm like, in the long run, it's probably going to last me longer. But
yeah,
I'm not going to. And also, it's ugly as fuck. Like, I
didn't even look at it. I just saw that it got
ugly.
announced.
It just looks like it's like they kept the white of the DualSense, and I was like, but the touchpad is black, and I'm like, you just make it a black controller. You know that the gamers want a black controller.
That people
just make
want
it a black
the black controller anyway.
Yeah, you should have just made it all black. And if anything, that would have made it like, you know, original DualSense base color is white, the Pro is black, and there you go. There you go.
A little built-in fake marketing thing.
But that would make sense. And Jim Ryan doesn't like making sense because he's a bastard.
So
anyway,
true, bestie.
Hunter's entering the Matrix. And you just crashed Kyle. God damn it, Hunter. And we're back. Kyle did crash in the end. You love to see it.
Tragic, really.
Just that's how shit opening night live was. That's just what can we say. Can't wait for it to come back next year.
The irritating thing about Keighley's shows, or this one specifically, is that like they have this future game show thing that happens every so often that I know I'm going to skip because it's already always talking about some update that I feel like exists already, and they're never announcing anything new. But for some reason, because Geoff Keighley, you know, does the Game Awards and now wants to take over the E3 space, his feels more important. And
it's because he got Elden Ring that one time. That's why. It's because he got Elden Ring. Was that opening night live last year that he got Elden Ring?
No, that was the E3
E3 one last year that he got Elden Ring.
I think Saints Row is what closed opening night live.
That seems fitting.
But
Dead Island will probably get a similar score, so it is fitting as well.
Yeah. But like with the future game show, I know that doesn't matter. And like honestly, with Keighley's thing, I know that I'm probably not going to care about
it doesn't matter,
anything either. It's just like just the general attention that's drawn to it makes me hear about it more and makes me be like, okay, I should at least skim this. kind of thing, and I wish that wasn't the case.
Oh yeah, and I'm definitely of that opinion now. Of however many years we've had opening night live, 3 or 4 years. I think it's been like 3 years since we've had opening night live. Something ridiculous. I think after this many opening night lives, I think it's safe to assume now that fair enough, there's probably still a reason to watch Game Awards and Key 3 for now, but this August
This one can be skipped.
opening
This
night
is
live
filler.
is very much never going to have anything major. And
It's
if
like
it
the
will,
update show.
I feel like Geoff Grubb or some other person on Twitter will tell me that there's something big and to watch it. I don't think there'll ever be like big surprises in this show. I feel like it's just Euro filler, like Sony treats Europe, just filler. Absolute tragedy. But no.
Bummer.
Oh well. I hope you guys didn't watch it because it was a real waste of fucking 2 hours. I was very miserable that day.
I only watched half of it, and I still felt like I wasted my time.
Yeah, imagine how I feel. Jeez. But anyway, that's it. That's it for this very negative episode of the podcast. Come back next week where we chat shit about Nintendo. No, we're good.
Ooh.
They have a week off. They got a little bit of a break. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Actually, it's like a dead
I
zone,
don't
isn't
know. I've got to reach
Think
into
so.
the little topic box.
it? Oh no, not Hunter's topic box. That never ends well.
No.
We better think of something fast, Cal. Anyway,
Yeah.
as always, our links are on screen right now. Okay, that still works. You can go and follow us on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with everything we're doing outside of the podcast, which is like sweet FA for me right now. I'm just big chilling. I love not being on
Sweet
social
FA.
media. Yeah, fuck all, dude.
Ah,
God,
I thought
it's
you
not
meant AF.
Nah, dude. Sweet AF as fuck.
As
no,
fuck.
no, dude. Sweet FA, fuck all. Because Twitter is toxic and I'm sick of it, so I just keep not going on it.
That's the spirit.
And by not
Truth.
going on it, I mean I still go on it. I just don't tweet, so it looks like I don't go on it. You know how it is.
Truth.
But it's all good. You can go and follow us there. And if you don't, that's cool too. You can just go and follow our general Twitter at HotGamersOnly, or subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/HotGamersOnly. And hey, if you don't want to look at our stupid faces, that's cool too. You can head to the link tree in the description or search for Hot Gamers Only on your favorite podcast service like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, you name it. We're on it. Go and check us out. Leave us a review, like, subscribe, comment, do all those things that we have to say because it's a YouTube video. With that, I guess we're done. Let's keep it short and sweet because it's 2:30 and I've still got to get this fucking rendered at some point. If it was late, I'm sorry. If it was on time, I'm sorry. Because either way, you lose. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun little rant session. My throat hurts, but we're good. But thank you ever so much for listening and watching this week. We'll be back same time, same place next week for more. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.